So what's going on, guys? Box here, and welcome back to a brand new video on the Ride 4 preview build. And today we're going to be heading in and racing this bike here, the BMW S1000RR superbike, and we are going to be taking it round a wet Nurburgring GP circuit. So we're going to get into a single race again. Coverage of the endurance game mode will be coming very soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But what we're doing is we're heading in and taking a look at the BMW S1000RR. So some specs there, comparing it to our race modified R1M that we raced last time, and this is just a super bike rather than a race modified super bike. So we're going to get in and do that. The track, we're going to be heading into Europe, into the Nurburgring, and this is the GP circuit. We do have the Nordschleife, which we'll check out in a different video, but what we're going to do is the GP circuit. Now, weather and lighting, what we're going to do is we're going to do a start time of about midday, bit of time progression, and weather conditions, we're going to have rainy, wet, or we're going to go for wet track rather than full wet. And weather variability, yes. Chance of rain, yes. So it could get worse. No, I'm gonna leave it as just a wet circuit. And yeah, so let's get in and let's actually, before we do that, let's check the laps. So we're going to do 4 laps at the GP circuit. It's going to be about a 10-minute race. And difficulty wise, let's up it to 90, see how we get on now. Number of opponents 11, same category, tyre wear on, of course. Starting position, we'll go for the middle of the grid, 6th. So there we go. Let's get straight into it then on this BMW S1000. Here we go then, Nurburgring time. And I have to say, I absolutely love the presentation of this game. It's taken a bit of inspiration from the MotoGP game. Like, you've got this little pan over the circuit as you come in. Some nice background music too. But yeah, there we go. Very nice indeed. So let's get in. Single race, bike set up. Okay, let's just choose the tyres. Can't really do anything else really. So we're going to roll with them and let's get in against the 90% AI this time. Of course, it's still the preview build, so you've got to bear that in mind. This isn't the final product, so that's good. And it's just been recently announced as well that Ride 4 will be coming to next gen, which is very interesting indeed. That's great to see. But here we go then. Coming down the hill into turn number 1. It's a very tricky turn number 1. And watching out for that rear tyre as well. We struggled a little bit with the rear last time out in the race. Where did we race at? I can't remember. Suzuka, that's the one, on the Yamaha R1M race modified. But this time, like I said, we're just on our BMW S1000RR, a lovely bike. This time on the 90% AI. It was 80% last time, but this is our first time in the wet conditions, so let's see how we get on. See how the AI perform in the wet too. Like I say, it's not going to get any wetter, but I wonder if it will feel like it's going to get a little bit drier. We'll have to bear in mind we might get a little bit more grip soon. We might see a line start to form. But I'll tell you what, I'm really looking forward to being able to check out career mode. That'll be fun. So the track here is wet. We'll try a full rainy condition race at some point, but we're dropping off the back of the 2nd place man, Sun Kang. See him closing down a little bit. You can monitor the gaps in the top left. Looks like we've got a Honda behind us, so I need to set up my rider because it's saying my nationality is Italian, which obviously isn't the case. You can probably tell by my accent. Braking about the 200-meter board. It's turn 10, exiting the chicane and coming into the final corner to end lap number 1. I hate when my phone goes off mid-video. It's so annoying. But the track is looking pretty dry. I thought we were going to have to deal with these wet conditions for a little bit. But obviously not the case. 2-minute 10 lap time. Braking nice and early for turn number 1. You can see that dry line starting to form now. So let's see if we can take it. Might have to use the wet patches just to cool down the tyres a little bit. Especially the rear tyre, look at that. So we're going to have to manage it. You really do have to manage your bike in this game. The sounds for this BMW, if I'm completely honest, it's a bit flat. Isn't much bass to it. It sounds a bit like now I don't know if that's what the bike surely doesn't sound like that in real life. So, but these obviously aren't the final sounds, so you just got to bear that in mind. But I tell you what, struggling with the rear tyre. Gap's 1.6, keeping it just under a second above the guy in 4th place. Good little run up the hill into the Schumacher S. He's pulling away, the guys ahead, so 90% difficulty seems to be suiting us at the minute. Able to fight for those podium positions, but if we want to take the win, we really are going to have to push. 1.8's the gap. Look at them going side by side at the hill. Into turn 10. Oh, that was an awful run through there. Going to be approaching halfway through this race then, and we can hopefully start to build on our pace, but the front two pulling away gradually. We're under pressure a little bit from the guys behind, and look at the circuit, it looks like it has pretty much dried up. So we've got to adapt to these conditions and push if we can, but my rear tyre's already at 41%. Gap's at 2.7 seconds. Like I say, we're over halfway through the race now. We've got to try and close down the front two. They were battling that out a little bit. Sun Kang and Kirsten. The race leader Kirsten, the German. But they're just pulling away. My rear tyre's starting to hold me back, and we're coming under pressure from the guys behind. So we just got to see if we can keep it on the road, but I'm struggling with the rear. It keeps wanting to go around. That's what I'm noticing about the physics for me. On the brakes, the rear just wants to sort of flick round, and it gets worse with the tyre wear. So that's obviously just the rear. Wow, I suppose is it the realistic physics. The problem is I've never ridden a bike, so I don't know what realistic physics feels like, but whether it's just the nature of these road bikes and like the super bikes compared to playing obviously MotoGP with the prototype race bikes, you know. But I'm pushing and pushing and pushing, and can't quite close down the front two, so it's going to be a case of defending our podium, because we now got a Spaniard behind going very quick, and he's just 0.4 of a second behind Julio Pecca. Let's keep him at bay. That's a new personal best lap time by half a second. Tipping it into turn number 1. Very tricky turn number 1 coming down the hill. And taking an awful line through turn 2. Oh. Gaps now to 4 seconds. Julio's going to pounce at any minute. Let's see where he can get us, but look, 25% wear. Well, tyre life left, and look at that. He just went flying up the inside, nice and aggressive. From the AI, looks like he's on Ducati. So we can stick with him. But the rear tyre, because that's really worn, we're not really going to have the traction at the corners, and we're stuck on the outside line. Good racing with the AI here. Flick it back underneath, nice and aggressive. Ooh, don't know what that was about. Oh, that's a shame. That could have been a nice little battle. He's probably going to come back at us anyway. But I don't know why he jumped out of the way like that, so Like I say, still a preview build. Everything being worked on, fine-tuned. AI is one of those. Don't want them jumping out the way of the player because you want to have nice tight battles with the AI. He's closing back down anyways, recovering from his mistake. Pushing it then for the last time into the chicane. He's still there. But we're able to keep him at bay anyway. Bring it around the final corner. We hold on for a podium. And in the end, Sun Kang got ahead of Kirsten and took the win. Good job for him. But anyway, crossing the line then. And it is P3. A good little result there. We got to see how, over the course of 4 laps, starting with a wet track, and how it dries up. And how the grip level changes, and how actually you do actually gain the extra performance with the dry laps. But 202.6, he was on a slightly faster bike on the Kawasaki. The Yamaha in second place. It was an MV Agusta behind us, not a Ducati, so apologies for that. Who else did we have on Ducati in last place? Only had 792 performance points. But anyway, what I am going to do is have a quick look through the replays. This is pretty cool. Let's have a look at the replay then. You can see at the start of the race it was all very wet. Coming down the hill into turn number 1 for the first time. Can you head into photo mode from here? Yes, you can. Brilliant stuff. So that's been it for today's video on the Ride 4 preview build. I hope you guys have enjoyed this race and taken a look at the wet to dry conditions, and also the Nurburgring and the BMW S1000RR. So if you are new around here, make sure you get subscribed for plenty more Ride 4 content. But in the meantime, I will see you guys in the next one.